Cad Bane was a bounty hunter that rose to prominence before the events of the prequel trilogy. He was mentored by another bounty hunter, Jango Fett, and would eventually come to be known as one of the best and most notorious bounty hunters in the galaxy. Over 10 years before the Clone Wars, he was hired by the Sith apprentice Darth Maul to infiltrate a black market auction for a kidnapped Jedi Padawan held by the Zrexus crime cartel. Maul hoped to take the Padawan for himself so he could finally kill his first Jedi. They were briefly successful, but Zrexus agents sabotaged their ship and hunted them down. Bane and the others fought off their attackers before making their escape. More than a decade later, the Clone Wars began. Jango Fett was dead, and Cad Bane had taken his place as the best of the best in the bounty hunting business. He was hired yet again by the Sith, but it was Darth Sidious this time. His task was to break into the holocron vault in the Jedi Temple to steal a specific holocron, which contained a list of Force-sensitive children. He was successful and opened it by holding Ahsoka Tano hostage and forcing her master, Anakin Skywalker, into using the Force to access the memory crystal. He then used the crystal to pose as a Jedi, kidnap several Force-sensitive infants, and deliver them to Mustafar. Anakin and Ahsoka rescued the children, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Mace Windu recovered the holocron, but Bane escaped. He was next hired by Jabba the Hutt to return to Coruscant and free the duplicitous Zero the Hutt from Republic prison. He did so by holding several senators hostage until his demands were met. Zero was delivered to the Hutts, but he escaped thanks to the help of the singer Sy Snoodles. So the Hutts hired Bane to find Zero again. But the Jedi were on the same hunt, and so Obi-Wan Kenobi and Quinlan Vos came to blows with the bounty hunter, who escaped once more. His next job came from the criminal mastermind Moralo Aval, who hired him to allow himself to be captured and placed in Republic prison, only to break back out together. Hearing whispers that Moralo was involved in an upcoming assassination attempt on Chancellor Palpatine, the Jedi sent Obi-Wan undercover into prison to join their crew and gain more information. Moralo took Bane and Kenobi to Count Dooku, who had hired a number of assassins to kill the Chancellor. But of course, Obi-Wan thwarted the assassination attempt, and Cad Bane was captured for real this time. But Boba Fett, the clone son of his old mentor, was also imprisoned there. They concocted a plan to escape together and were successful. Bane took the younger Fett under his wing, teaching him to become a better bounty hunter. They traveled to Tatooine and rescued a kidnapped girl together, and at some point Boba began wearing his father's old Mandalorian armor. But Bane had ulterior motives. He wanted to train Boba to be as good as Jango, only so he could be the one to kill him and prove once and for all that Cad Bane was the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, not a Fett. Their duel wound up being a draw. Bane's shot was powerful and direct enough to dent Boba's helmet, and Boba's shot resulted in a similar but not fatal head injury for Bane. When the Clone Wars came to an end, the Empire began to withdraw their support from Kamino and their clone army. The Kaminoans hoped to develop a new breed of clone trooper, but in order to do so they needed either Boba Fett or Omega, who was basically Jango's clone daughter and Boba's sister. Both potential subjects were missing at the time, so Prime Minister Lama Su hired Cad Bane to track Omega down. He found her under the protection of some genetically altered clones called the Bad Batch. He outshot their leader, Hunter, and kidnapped Omega, but his delivery to the Kaminoans was thwarted by an up-and-coming bounty hunter named Fennec Shand. Omega escaped to return to the Bad Batch, and Fennec sabotaged Bane's ship, the Justifier, to buy them some time. Nearly 30 years later, the Duros was still for hire. He took a job with the Pike Syndicate, who hoped to spread their spice trade deeper into Tatooine after the death of Jabba the Hutt. They were opposed by Boba Fett, who had come to live with a group of Tusken Raiders on the planet, abandoning the life of bounty hunting. The Pikes secretly murdered the Tuskens, prompting Boba to take up Jabba's old throne, raising forces against the Syndicate. The Pikes sent Cad Bane to another Tatooine settlement called Freetown, where he shot down their marshal, Cobb Vanth, and his deputy, thinking that would discourage the other citizens from joining Fett. But they fought in Cobb Vanth's name, protecting the former bounty hunter from near death. A battle in Mos Espa culminated in another duel between Boba and Cad Bane. The former defeated the latter by stabbing him with his Tusken gaffy stick, and Bane bled out in the sand. Probably. Maybe. A lone red light on his chest began beeping, which could possibly be a hint about his survival, but for now we'll have to wait and see. As of right now, Cad Bane's story is complete, although he will likely appear in future episodes of The Bad Batch. But I still figured this was a good time for this video because his defeat on Tatooine in the Book of Boba Fett did bring an end to his character arc, or apparent lack of one. His refusal to grow beyond the life of bounty hunting for decades stands in stark contrast to Boba Fett's significant personal growth in the time after Return of the Jedi, and winning a duel against his former teacher symbolized that emotional victory over his past. But that's it for today. What other Star Wars characters or topics would you like to see a complete timeline for? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.